All right, guys, I'm super excited just to add on to what Cooley said, welcome. And like Cooley said, we're constantly every week trying to bring as much value to you guys as possible. We will be recording this session. I know Gail's going to share a ton of value with you guys. So, but hold your questions. So just housekeeping really quick before we kick off. Keep track of any questions you have. We're going to go fast, Gail, right? We're going to cram in as much as we can in about an hour or so. Keep track of questions. We will save time for Q&A at the end, so you guys can put questions in. We'll kind of get through as much as we can. But without further ado, so quick announcement. Our good friend Gail DeMarco. So for me, she's up in the top left corner, and we're going to be sharing screens and such here in a second. But to add on to what Cooley said, you guys, I've gotten to know Gail through the EXP network here. I think when we were speaking at the events, I think it was actually billed last year. Yeah. The energy that you guys are going to feel from Gail is my favorite. It's so infectious. It's definitely one of the reasons why she's such an incredible human being as a person, but her track record in this business. Okay. I did that tagline on purpose because you guys hear us talking about this all the time. We do the numbers, we do the math with you guys. Here's what it takes to create $1 million in commissions a year selling real estate. You guys know we are a very big listing organization. Gail and I come from a very similar background with how we're coached foundationally. She is a prospector, like Cooley was talking about. This doesn't come easy, right? There is no magic pill, right? The magic pill is she gets to work. And so we're going to go from, Gail's going to share her story in a moment here of where she's gone to where she is now, 9 years in the real estate business, right, Gail? Making $1 million a year in commissions from prospecting for listings. The part I want to highlight here for you guys, right? That's going after expireds, that's going after for sale by owners. And what we talk about all the time, the skill set that we teach all of the agents is that you could be uprooted, dropped in a helicopter in any market in any state, and you can recreate your business. So Gail has gone from $1 million agent, all listing based that she's procured in the California market. And now just what, Gail, 3 to 4 months ago, has relocated to Florida. She's now in a brand new market, taking her skill set, her systems, her processes that she runs, and is just recreating her business from scratch, all in a brand new market. So she's going to be highlighting for you guys. We talk a lot about obviously how we generate the business. This is what we want you around. You want to make $1 million a year, you got to get around the rock stars that are doing that, right? Because, and here's what's so amazing about what we all do, and Gail, thank you, is that these incredible leaders and producers and coaches will come in, and she's going to open her playbook and show you guys exactly what she does. So Gail, we're going to start with, I know you're going to tell a little bit about your background and kind of your story of what you're doing, and then share with you guys what she's doing from preparation to her presentation, what she does, her templates, what it all looks like. We're going to take a ton away. So hopefully you guys are taking notes, and Gail, I'll go ahead and kick it over to you.
Hey guys, first of all, super humbled. And I got to tell you, when Michelle Wilson and Cooley reached out to me, I'm afraid of Cooley. Okay. Because my entire team, they are all in the Breakfast Club. I'm intimidated by Cooley because he is such a badass. I mean, that guy is like fire. I've been coached by Mike Ferry for 5 years and never been in such a great role play as that group. So any of you that aren't participating in that, when I say participate, I want to say unblock your camera. You guys, I've seen more people with no cameras on and they don't participate. It's like you don't get anything if you don't. So super humble. I didn't even know he was that good looking. I pictured him some bald fat dude because he was so arrogant. So there you go. You look amazing.
I'll turn my camera on now just to make a cameo really quickly because I can't not do that if you're talking about me. Thanks for that, Gail. I appreciate that.
No problem. And Michelle, I saw her at Bill. Her and I were speaking at the same time, and I do not like speaking. I'm not one of those people who like the stage. I do like sharing my testimony. I do like that because if it can change anybody's life here, that's what I'm about. And then Michelle Wilson comes on and she's got these arms that are guns. And I'm like, whoa. And, I'm telling you this because we could be intimidated so much by the people around us, right? But then backstage, we're, chatting. I'm like, wow, this person is so cool. I love her story. So because I have the stage right now, I can do whatever the hell I want, right? So I'm going to pray right now, and I'm going to give thanks to God, because if it wasn't for God having a hold over my life, and I'm probably going to share some things that people haven't heard. I have a couple of my own coaching clients on here. So, it's just the way it is. So dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, I praise you and I thank you. And I'm so humbled. And I hope that this opportunity can not just show people how to make $1 million, Lord, but how to change their lives in some small way and to really, really give thanks and give gratitude. And I thank you for Michelle and I thank you for Cooley and their amazing group and the Breakfast Club. So Lord, let's do it. Woo!
Let's go.
Love that. Okay.
Amen.
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 Can you clap after prayers, Gail? Is that acceptable? I'm
Shut
just
up,
gonna
Julie.
clap.
Shut
I don't know.
up, Cooley. Is that the... No. I've always wanted to say that. Shut up, Cooley. That's not the answer I want. No. But at the end of the day, yes, you can. You can always clap. And you know what? Why not? Anything goes here, right? Anything goes. So my story, I was a wedding photographer, and I was a motorcycle photographer. I published a Harley Davidson book. I worked with Harley Davidson for over 15 years. I worked in the rock and roll world. So I realized really quick that rock and roll did not pay. And one of my rockers they were getting married. It happened to be one of Carlos Santana's friends. And the guy that I was working for, Baron Woolman, he was one of the first guys. He was a partner of Rolling Stone magazine. And he was the photographer that collaborated with the guy that started it. So he said, you want to go shoot a wedding? And I've always embraced, we didn't have YouTube back then. We did not have YouTube. We couldn't you had to figure it out. Show me something visual and I can do it. And that's kind of what this prospecting thing is about, right? So I was a wedding photographer, loved it. I traveled all over the country, Scotland, England, you name it, I've probably been there. And I was so happy. And it's funny, I look at Coach Gabe here. I actually shot his wedding. And it's one of those things where you just never know what's going to happen in your life, but you have to be resourceful. You have to be resourceful. So then about 9 years ago, I fell off a horse, had this hand in a cast for almost 2 years. So I had to fake shooting weddings with my left hand. So imagine, because I'm booked a year ahead of time, and a lot of people that are on this call were like, how can you fake shooting wedding? I can set anything up. I could shoot a wedding right now. If you put a camera in my hand, I can go shoot probably one of the best weddings because I internalize this kind of like Cooley scripts, right? A lot of my team members will say to me, why do we, God, he's kind of aggressive. That's not really our style. I go, do you realize every freaking objection Cooley does, you could do with it listing at a listing presentation with a buyer. I mean, he's giving you gold. It's the tools. So internalize it. So anything I've done, I've always tried to, like, why do it half-assed? Why do it half-assed? So one of my clients that I had to cancel was a realtor. I said, I just can't do it today. My hands in pain. She's like, Gail, have you ever thought of real estate? Have you ever thought of it? And I thought, that sounds terrible. That sounds like the worst possible job on this earth. I said, no. I go, what? All that paperwork. I'm not details. I am definitely not details. That's why I have Laura Daniels, who's been my assistant for 8 years. And I'm all about the details, but I don't want to physically do. I learned a long time in my business. I read that book, The E-Myth. If you want to elevate, you got to delegate. You cannot be everything to everybody, or you will never be any good at all. So my first year in real estate, actually was at the same time, my first year, my husband decided to leave, and he left me with 22 horses, 20 acres, and a 12-year-old. They have not found his body yet, so I'm happy to tell you that. So, but actually I got even with him. I actually got back with him, and now he's tortured for the rest of his life. But I tell you, that's why God works in very, very special ways. So, but we didn't get back for like probably 3-4 years, and he didn't really make a lot of money. He was a construction guy, right? So at the end of the day, and I just realized I said that, and there were some people on there that are my neighbors, and they're also realtors. Well, who cares? That's okay, right? So at the end of the day, I had $1,500 in my bank account, $1,500. I had a $6,000 delivery of hay coming. I'm going to wrap this up real quick, my introduction. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I remember getting on my knees and I said, God, I will never fucking be broke again, ever. So show me the door, show me the way. Open the door, shut the door. He shut the door in my family life. But guess what? I never had a family life because I was gone every single weekend. I've been working my entire life. And I enjoy that. I come from an immigrant dad. And, my dad was an attorney in the Philippines. He's Chinese Filipino, right? And he just always, when he came here, he had 3 jobs. I thought everybody had 3 jobs. So I've been actually out on my own since I was 16 years old. So I couldn't wait to get a job. You see some of the kids today, nobody wants to work. You go in, like, I'm staying at my son's house right now. I left the house at 7:30. They're still sleeping. I'm like, what? Why are they still sleeping? But that's how I'm wired. I'm wired to be the best I could be at all times, whether I'm on a paddle board. If I get on the board, I don't want to just paddle. I want to go down white water. I want to race. I want to fill up where I gave it my best, because there's a lot of mediocre people out there. There's a lot of mediocre jobs out there. There's just a lot of mediocre of life. We have one life. When you put it in perspective, it's a very short time that we're here. So fast forward, my first year, I lost $24,000 in real estate. I got my license. Nobody would share with me anything. They would never, ever say, hey, here's how you do it. I remember there was this gal in our office. She would show up every morning at 8 a.m. and her name was Carla Carlson. I actually just talked to her. She's retiring right now. And she would, I asked her, what are you doing? What is that you do every morning? And she's like, why do you want to know? And that whole, I'm not going to tell you because you might take it from me. So I swear to God, I told my broker there was an empty office, and I go, give me that office next to her. And he's like, it's all the way in the back, it's no window. I'm like, I don't care. I would go like this on the wall, and I would listen to exactly what she was saying. And she would say things like, hey, my name is Carla Carlson. And by the way, I specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time. I'll be stopping by your neighborhood, picking up a lockbox around 4 o'clock. Do you mind if I just stop by and give you my humble opinion and how we can get your home sold? So she would just go into that. I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that? So I found out it was Mike Ferry. I hired a Mike Ferry coach for 5 years. It was almost 5 years. And it was a great experience. Okay. So it was a great, great experience. And I've always had coaches, but I don't like being treated like a kindergartner, right? I don't want somebody to welcome me. Good morning, superstar. Tell me your wins. I was just sharing with Michelle. I need somebody to meet me at my level. I don't need a freaking cheerleader. Just show me a blueprint. So I'm going to show you the blueprint. I'm going to explain to you what I did. And in year 5, I made $989,000 in commission. I was working at Sotheby's at that time, paid $280,000 to Sotheby's. And I thought that was a great deal. I just thought it was a great deal. So every morning I was the first one in. And when you talk about, Cooley, he has the 729 club, Cooley. Yep. Well, I was always in the first one in the office, and I was always the last one to leave. So relentlessly, I would have my role play. I'd be putting my hot rollers in my hair, and I'd be on the role play every single morning. I don't even need to talk to you guys really about prospecting, right? Because you have the best coach. You've got the best coach. So I would do my prospecting, and then, we didn't really have a lot of distractions. Right now, 9 years ago, it just seems like so long ago, there weren't a lot of, hey, go in that Zoom class, or there's, this class. So everything was in person. So we were really able to focus in. It's a lot harder now to be really, really focused, because there's so much white noise, and you're like, hey, there's this online class, and there's that, and there's this. But what I will tell you, to this very day, I'm I'm relentless. Nobody gets on my schedule between 8 and 10. I am prospecting. People say, can I have breakfast? One of my agents reached out to me, at EXP, and he said, hey, can we have breakfast? I'm like, not before 8. Even, there's a gal, Andrea, on this phone call with me, and she lives across the street from me in Florida. They always invite me for breakfast. I don't do breakfast. I am very, very regimented, because I know that if I continue to do what I always done, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. I'm going to assume everybody on this call is an experienced agent. So like I said to Cooley and Michelle, why do I really need to talk about prospecting, right? I'm going to just, kind of tell you my schedule, but I really want to go into, because what I don't see at the Breakfast Club is, what do you do when you get to the appointment? What do you do to prepare, and what do you give them? before you get to the appointment. So you win it because you go through all that work, right? And you're prospecting and you get that lead and you're so, so excited. And then you get there and then, why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it? So I always say, at the end of the day, change your energy and you'll change your life. Period, ended. You don't think I needed energy when my husband took off and I had to shoot weddings? It was like being an alcoholic in a bar. Okay. So I had to bring energy. I couldn't go, all you men suck. Marriage doesn't work. I was a wedding photographer getting 10 grand a wedding. I had to be there for other people. I always learned how to compartmentalize. And I'll tell you, I coach a bunch of people. I'm very, very lucky. I don't have really hardly any clients that aren't really all in. They're in and it's all about energy. And we all have problems. Every single person I coach has some kind of problem. You don't think I have distractions? I just had my 86-year-old mother. I tell people I adopted a toddler. She just moved in and I'm taking care of her. Well, my husband's taking care of her. That's why I'm in California. It's like, so things are always going to happen in your life. Your wife is going to piss you off. Your kids are going to, get in trouble. Something is going to happen, but you have to understand that that's just freaking life. And if you're consistent, and I will tell you, in 10 years, I'm going to fast forward. In 9 years, I've saved over $1 million, which has made me a lot more money. And that's just in cash. Okay. I own a home that's 1.3 and I don't have 1.25. I don't want to be off. I don't have a mortgage. Okay. I didn't have a pot to piss in 10 years ago. And now I have about, I've got other investments because of real estate that have set me up where I don't really have to work. I'm doing this because I love it. I absolutely love it. I love coaching. So with my California team, I'm coaching and I'm also prospecting in Florida. So I've gotten 4 listings in the last 3 months and they're all over 800,000. I just took another one and I'm actually mentoring an agent that is on this call. And it's actually her personal house. So it'll probably, we're hoping 1.25, 1.3, but I know I'm so focused on what I want to sell. I don't take expireds all over the county. Hell no. I'm not going to drive more than 15 minutes. I value my time. I'm not going to go out to Okanokie to take a listing of a hoarder house. So when I am using my Mojo is my best friend. I have a filter, anything over $600,000, anything over 600. I love FSBOs. FSBOs is where I really win. My 3 listings in Florida right now are all FSBOs. And that's kind of another whole class. How much time do I have? So, and I'd love to share that with you, but for FSBOs, I'll tell you really, really quick. I just show up in person. And the way I do it, I'll call them real quick and let's go, Gabe. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, hi, is this the homeowner of 123 Banana Street?
Yes.
Oh, real quick, one of my clients, I know this may sound bizarre. One of my clients just called me and said she drove by your house and you had a for sale sign. Is your home for sale?
It is. Selling it myself.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay, that makes sense because I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. I looked everywhere.
You sure? I had it on Zillow.
I've checked 3 different computers. I've looked, realtor.com, Zillow. I just haven't seen it. So by the way, is it possible she's actually out of town right now? Can I just stop by and take a quick look?
Yeah. You said you had a buyer? You said your friend was looking for it?
No, it's one of my clients. She's actually the one that gave me your phone number.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I think she was at a birthday party down the street or something. So she drove by, saw it, and gave me the number. And I'm her agent. By the way, are you paying a buyer's commission?
Sure. 2.5% buyer's commission, but that's, I'm selling it myself.
That's awesome. Well, I'll be over at 4:00 on Friday. Actually, if I can come over tonight, that'd be great. So now what I do is I get in front of them and I build rapport. It's all about building rapport. I never not get a FSBO. Okay, so I build a rapport, and then I'll say to them, usually, so I have two cohorts when I say I have two partners when I'm getting FSBO. One is my lender, he knows, I say I'm going to go to this person's house, and I'll tell you why that's important. And the other one is my photographer. So I'll say, wow, then they'll show me usually, hey, it's on the internet, look. And I'm like, oh man, your house looks so much better in person, so much better. You know what, you should use my photographer. They always hire my photographer. Okay, so now my photographer is edifying me. Oh my gosh, this is great. Oh yeah. So when my photographer shows up, I actually show up. I haven't done this in a long time, but now I'm recreating myself. So I show up, I'm in my shorts, I'm I'm moving furniture, I'm doing stuff with them. And then I tell them, by the way, how are you vetting your buyers? How do you know you have a good buyer when you have a buyer? Oh, I have a pre-approval letter. I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, you know what? Let me help you out here. Just because I do a lot of business with this lender, I can't tell you how many deals fall apart. Any pre-approval letter that you had even 2 months ago isn't good now because the rates have gone up. Why don't you call Ali Ghaziani? He's phenomenal. He will go ahead and he will pre-qualify them to make sure that some Yahoo, some clown isn't wasting your time. Would you like his number? They always say yes, always. And then I say, by the way, if you want me to help you pick out the photos when they come in, we could get on a Zoom call and I can help you do that. So now I'm adding value, adding value, adding value. So Ali gets on the phone, he calls, and he just starts, he's like the best building rapport. I mean, a lot of people on this call that are on my team know that he is fire, right? So he sells me. So now these people are selling me. So why do people go FSBO? FSBOs are very different than expireds. FSBOs had a bad experience. They think it's so easy. So anyway, that's just that's how I got my almost $3 million in FSBOs in the last 4 months.
So Gail, real quick, you actually act like you're their agent before you're actually their agent is what you're talking about.
100%. And the last takeaway that scares the crap out of them, I say, oh, by the way, you do have in Florida, it's 36 disclosures. You do have the 36 disclosures you need to give the buyer when you get in contract, right? So you don't get sued. No, they always say no, right? I'm always going to ask a question where I already know the answer. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me do this. If you don't mind, I'll be, you know what? You're so nice. Cooley, you're so nice. Let me just print some of them out for you. I'll pull together what I can with my TC. And I will drop them off. Does that sound good? And by that time, normally I don't even have to explain it. They call up and I mean, this one FSBO led to another one for, oh, by the way, we have a house at the beach, and that one we're going to list for 1.1. So that's how it works. You're building rapport, you're building trust, you're letting them know you shouldn't be doing this by yourself. I'm the right person. So, you're exactly right. So I'm assuming I'm their agent. I'm showing value. You cannot make a withdrawal without a deposit, right? So I know the scripts are good. I'm going to share with you my scripts. Cooley has the best scripts, but that's how I do my FSBOs. And so fast forward, I'm going to assume everybody now has an appointment, right? We are all prospecting, so we get appointments. If you're not getting two appointments a week, you are not doing the homework. I only needed 2 appointments a week because I was targeting homes that were 700,000 and over. And people are like, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, you get open houses. And anybody on my team knows I used to do 4 open houses every weekend. Every weekend. I would do Friday from 3 to 6 because I get sellers. Saturday, I would do 11 to 1. And then I would do 11 to 1 and 2 to 4. I've always done 2-hour windows because I like to create scarcity and urgency. Super important, right? Because then you have people and they see with the Ring doorbells, they see people. So open houses has totally built my business. And when you say, well, I can't get an open house, it's so easy to get open houses. I mean, that's how most of my agents that I found are on my team. So now I'm going to go into, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully.
You should be good too.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what I do to prepare for the listing appointment. Is everybody cool with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. All righty. And share. Okay. So I have this picture on here because it reminds me, Mr. Miyagi, it's wax on, wax off, right? There's so many people around you, especially with EXP, right? Because everybody at EXP shares, where you couldn't get that at Sotheby's, you couldn't get that at Remax. I've never, like all of my good friends, like I'm not in business with Michelle and I'm not in business with Cooley, but yet they've, they open up their playbook. So my dad, a Chinese Filipino guy, was always like, work hard, work hard, work hard. Now I like to work smart. So I'm going to kind of scroll down a little bit. You're going to get everything I show you, I'm giving you a link to everything. So, before even an agent hosts one of our open houses, they have to sign this. And you guys could look at that later because it's pretty elementary, but they need to sign that. I have a cheat sheet for every single open house. What is a cheat sheet? A cheat sheet is something when you're at open house, because I know most of you, I will tell you 80% of you, because before we really put this in play with our team, 80% of our team did it. You show up to the open house, you throw your 4 signs out and you're like, ha, and you're showing up 5 minutes before it. You should be showing up an hour before your open house. You should be checking out the other home. You should know everything that's pending. You should have talked to every single agent. And you should know things like, what is the Melrose? So we have all the information from how much is the HOA, how much are the, what are the schools? Be prepared, because all you agents that say nothing ever happens at open houses, nobody ever wants to talk to me, right? So I'm not going to go into an open house class right now, but I'm going to say this cheat sheet is super good to have. So you can just, make it for yourself. This jot form I'm going to show you is going to change everything you do. I mean, it has really, really helped us like unbelievably. And I'll show you that in a second. So we just, in Florida, they don't do prelims. Here, we always do a prelim. We want to know, everything about the property before we list it. We want to know what is the average utility? What is the, because people say, well, oh, this is a big house. How much are the utilities? Blah, blah, blah. So then from there, this is obviously before an open house, you're door knocking, you're prospecting. This is really where every single time we list a house, 2 more come on the market, always. So here's some scripts for that. We normally, Gabe, what do you do before your open house? You do?
I set up signs. I'm a little extreme. I set up 20 or more signs in the morning. So I have all day, kind of pre-marketing, and I can't tell you how many people come to the open house because there you go, I saw your signs. So yep. I get neighbors and looky-loos, but those people also know people, and we also call the neighborhood if it's the first, like the premier weekend. We door knock the neighborhood within a specific radius, let them know about the coming soon, ask them if they have any real estate needs, and basically use a modified Breakfast Club script, to get in front of people. Exactly. Then we do the open house. I have a sign-in sheet at the open house, and then follow up with people from there.
So I will tell you, with the prospecting and open houses, there's no way you can't. There's no way that you cannot build momentum and build your pipeline. So right before, once we set the appointment, I'm going to kind of show all this, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to give all of you these things. So don't worry about taking notes. Don't worry about taking screenshots. I'm giving you everything. We always confirm the date. We provide a link to our high note selling presentation, which I'm going to show you. That has been like gold for me. And then I send out a bonbon video to confirm. So when I'm sending out a bonbon video, it's nothing fancy. It's just like, here's my confirmation the day before.
Hi, Benjamin. Gail DeMarco here. Just got off the phone with you about 10 minutes ago. Looking forward to meeting with you Friday morning, 9 a.m. Like I said, I've sold quite a few homes in your neighborhood. I've broken a lot of records, and just kind of love to share with you my opinion on what could get your home sold and if that makes sense, or should you just keep it for 5 or 6 years. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This is my cell number, but if not, to see you Friday morning. Hope you guys are doing well, and thanks again for taking the time. Bye.
So the reason I say keep it 3 or 4 years, because sometimes they'll say, well, I could just rent it. can I tell you last month, and Laura she's my assistant here, I made $3,000. I got referral checks from property managers. If I'm not going to get their listing, I'm going to get a property manager for them. I'm going to get $500 referral fee for every single home that says I'm going to rent it. Because I usually call their bluff. I mean, most of the time they just say that because it's just a pushback. You know what? I could just rent it. Oh, that's great. No problem. I'm the best property manager. Let me refer you. And, when they say, well, come over first. But I will tell you, $3,000 I made last month just from people. Either way, I'm going to be a solution for them. Oops. So then this is what I emailed them right before. So
Gail,
I'm
this
just
is
going to,
what you would call, because with our guys, this is what you would consider your pre-listing package.
yes.
Okay.
Because listen, right now, we used to drop it off the day before at their house. Now we don't do that, right? Because we have video. How do you drop off a video? You don't, right? And I do, we have our stats. Now, for those of you that don't have stats, just don't have the video. This is something called high note. What do they pay? $40 a month? $35 or $39. So it just kind of has a little introduction. We've included a summary about our listing process, more information about us. Sometimes we'll put in a net sheet. I'm not a big fan of net sheets. I don't like net sheets in mine. I don't want them to focus. What do they focus on? They'll focus, I'll bring one with me and maybe I'll bring it out, but they focus on the commission, how much they're paying me. So I've been very, very successful without bringing a net sheet. I'll get that to them after they sign with me. And if they ask, like for me to bring one, then of course I will. So I will do a little introduction on the office. Now, you guys, there's so many different things. If you are not the number one office, you don't have to put these stats in. You can use other stats other stats that, in other EXP offices. So basically we'll kind of put our numbers in here. And we try to put the current numbers in there. We go. We do that because it's too big. So put our numbers in there. We'll put like that's my third partner. And we'll go to, then I'll do a little, hey, meet me. I want you to know a little bit about me before I get there. Okay, I want you to treat me, and honestly, it's like we walk in and they act like we're celebrities. They're like, oh, one person said to Val, my partner, she goes, wow, I looked at your high note. I'm not your high note. I looked at your email. So I guess you're not negotiable on commission, right? That's what they said. And she's like, yeah, you're right. No, we're not. So I let them know I'm known for paddle boarding. A little bit, here's a little bit about me. Rock and roll has been my background. Love rock and roll. Love, that's I have a dysfunctional family, just like everybody else. I'm a risk taker. If you go with me, don't worry about it. I'm not afraid of any kind of currents or turbulence, and I like my life on, out. This is the guy selling my golf cart. I don't know how he got in here, but, then Val will have, then I have Val has her whole thing. Then we have a video. We spent money on doing a team introduction.
So you want to sell your home, but you feel overwhelmed and have no idea where to start?
When you work with us, it's the only call you have to make. From painting to packing, from staging to cleaning, what home improvements are needed, or even repairs. We even have an in-house general contractor.
Start today by calling Turner DeMarco at 916-936-2000 or go online, turnerdemarco.com.
So put in a little video. Then we talk about our concierge. Here's what we do. And actually, I think I have, okay, so we kind of talk about what we do. You guys will have all that. Our listing, our marketing plan. Did you put in the whole, where's the whole thing that, like the one we're sending tomorrow? Sorry, I'm talking to my assistant.
That's all there.
Okay. Then we put in here is like our listing presentation. We put it in. You know how much money I've saved not having to print this stuff out? I never, ever, ever leave a listing presentation with them. If they don't sign, they don't get it. Because I want, when I'm at that house, I'm walking out with the listing. That's it. And we could talk about how I do that too. So then I love this flip book. It just kind of tells us a little bit about our team. Talks about our service area, testimonials. Can I honestly tell you that they will look at this more when you're sitting with them, they don't look at it, right? So it's very clean. It just shows what we do. Shows about some of our signage. We talked about the concierge marketing. So that, and here we go. That's what I don't like. So this one, we just show the brochures. This is not wrong. This just shows this is our fold over brochures. We show some of our marketing. Always do property feature sheets, two-sided flyers. Now, you don't think that the person that comes in before or after me is going to be, they're going to look at our stuff and look at their stuff, and it's in a, you know, a little folder, and it doesn't have any pizzazz to it. People want something. They want to know that even if their house is a $500,000 home, that you're going to treat it like it's a $1 million property. So this is something that EXP started offering, and I became I'm an ambassador for the luxury program. It is phenomenal. It is way better than Sotheby's. You know, I was at Sotheby's. Remax had nothing like this. So I'll put this in there. If it's a home that is going to be a luxury home, okay? And at the end of the day, they actually send out reports to your sellers. And I tell my seller, you're going to get a report to see, hey, you know, how often your home has been seen in Mansion Global, the New York Times, because especially in Florida, we have a lot of international buyers. It just really depends on your market. Laura, show me where the insides are. Hold on one second. Okay, so that's the pre-appointment. Here's what I get before I get there. They have to fill out this jot form. I want to know, like I tell them, hey Gabe, by the way, I'm going to be sending you a seller's questionnaire. This is why it's important that you fill this out before I leave, because I'm going to be doing the comps before I get there, because you want to know what we can sell the house for. But at the end of the day, you know, when I look online, Zillow's not going to tell me everything about your home. So share with me. So I'll ask certain questions. Sure. Is the solar owned? Is it leased? When was your last remodel? Blah, blah, blah. So I have them sell out, you know, fill this out. So I'm not wasting 2 hours there. I used to be in and out in 2 hours. Now I'm in and out in a half an hour, which is the Mike Ferry way, right? But I have all of the information. This is my most important question right here. And they usually always tell me, hey, when I'm doing the comps and researching home, what price should I, oh no, that's not that, it'll say, what price should I research the comps? And they will normally say, you know, what the price is, and how did you come across this price? So look at all these different questions. It's saving me so much time sitting there taking notes. Right here, I will be doing research on your property. I've not had the opportunity to see it. What price range should I study? 1.5. How did you arrive at that range? Seeing other sales. Why are you selling? Divorce. So it gives me a lot of information. And this way, that's my cheat sheet at a listing presentation when I go for a listing.
Gail. That's your pre-qual, but done in a form of questionnaire.
Correct. And so then, you know, I basically just bring this little book here. And it is, yeah. So put it in here, bind it, have my name. This is like the Florida one I have. I have one for California as well. You know, you just saw this. This is the marketing plan. So I have 2 different listing presentations. I got one for California, I've got one for Florida, just depending And I'm willing to share any of these with anybody on this. You can have it. I don't care. You know, go into, I could even give you my graphic designer. Here's what I bring. When I go on a listing presentation, this is what you should have with you at all times. Okay. You have your marketing plan. Then you're going to have a map of comparable listings, right? That's your comps. And certain things where we're always looking for: mortgage. Is there a lien on the property? I print out the Zillow. I don't give this to them. I want to know what's in their mind. Okay, what is that number that they're thinking of? Because they're always going to go to Zillow. Then I go to RPR. And the way I present RPR, and this is the truth, when I was selling down in the Bay Area, I basically didn't know how to comp this one house in Mountain View. It was in Silicon Valley. It was a little single story. And an appraiser, I called an appraiser, goes, go to RPR, because that's what we look at. If it has 5 stars, they need to show us why it's worth more. So I'm like, so then I just say, by the way, this is what the appraiser looks at. Now, of course, if this is like really wacky, if it's on 1 acre or less, it's very, very accurate. If it's 1 acre or more, it's not accurate. So I'll say, here's what the appraiser is looking at. Show me why you think your house is worth 1.3. What have you done to it? So then I have just kind of, sorry? Property history. We have all the property history. Then I do a very small comp in their neighborhood, because it's very hard to find comps in some of these neighborhoods. You have to go outside, and then I'll do a whole comp. So I'll do 2 different comps. So they know price per square foot. I love this comp, just so I can say original listing price. What is it that they actually sold for? These are really important, so you can discuss these kind of numbers with them. Then I've got, let's see. We talk about our office, show them, we'll show them, okay, you know, here's how we rank. By the way, these are all brand new homes. Hey, that's the Sotheby's. Look, there's Val Turner, there's myself. Now we'll tell you, I am stepping out of production. So next year I won't have this, you know, I will not have these numbers, because my goal was to make a shitload of money and to coach. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So right here, it'll say, you know, that's my little office right here. And EXP is killing it in our area. It is killing it. So, you know, I'm super proud to say that, gosh, this is the old office we used to work at. And we are still kicking their butts. So when they see that, because, you know, 2 years ago, nobody knew who EXP was, right? Then this is the most important thing when I'm at a listing appointment. Just like I had a cheat sheet for the open house, I have a cheat sheet for the property. So when I go in there, I got my gate code. I'm not fumbling around. I'm not calling. If you're calling your client and saying, what is the gate code? That just goes to show that you don't know what you're doing, right? You haven't been in that neighborhood before. I will call another agent, get that gate code. Be prepared. Be prepared. So now I know what Zillow says. This is the only sheet. I used to do this at weddings. I'd have a cheat sheet. Who's the bride? Who's the groom? I used to do 3 a weekend. So then we have everything laid out here. I know I could have a conversation, because you have to understand when we were busy, we were doing, you know, sometimes 6 listing appointments a week. So I have analysis. Now I will tell you, full disclosure, I don't do this. Laura does this for me. She's my, you know, my right hand of 8 years. So she will get all this. And I also know Laura's very conservative. So, and that's good. So I'll have that in there. This is the pre-email. Once we get the listing, we do a whole introduction of who's who and a service timeline. I bring this with me to the listing appointment. I start making the service timeline while I'm there. By the way, my photographer is not a real estate photographer. He's actually an architectural photographer. I have the best photographers booked 2 weeks ahead of time. If they're saying that their timeline's within the next month or so. I just had somebody call me yesterday, wanted it on the market in 10 days. So I'm going to get that thing signed.
Gail, the really cool thing that I see here, if you don't mind me interrupting you real quick, is, especially when you're going out there and competing with for sale by owners, right? Like the number one thing with for sale by owners and why most of you guys on this call refuse to reach out to them is because why? By virtue of them sticking that sign in the front yard, they're saying that I don't see any value in real estate agents. In fact, I don't think that much of real estate agents, so much so that I feel like I could do all this stuff myself, right? And when you go out to a FSBO appointment and you're unprepared, you don't know the data, you don't know you're not presenting all of the value that they can't do on their own. By going out there, all you're doing is solidifying the fact that they should be going for sale by owner because they, number one, they know more than you. Number two, they can do more than you. And so unless you solidify or take away those objections, you're going to have them. So how can you work on being the expert in the industry, and how can you portray that? It's by knowing all the information and your preparation process. And the same thing is true with expired listings too, right, Gail? They just had 6 months of an agent who didn't really give a shit, didn't do their due diligence, didn't really know anything. And you know what the most common objection for an expired listing is, guys? Why didn't my house sell? Can anybody tell me what the most common reason why their house didn't sell? It's typically because their agent didn't do anything and their agent wasn't good and their agent just stuck a sign in the front yard, right? It's always the agent. And now I've had 6 months of incompetence. What am I searching for right now? I'm searching for an agent who does their due diligence, who is competent, who I can actually trust this time. And the best way to do that is have all of your shit together when you're out there presenting, right? To make them feel like, oh my God, this person's different than my previous agent. Like, this isn't even the same experience. This girl knows my fucking gate code, for crying out loud. Sorry for the F word, guys, but it's all about the preparation. And Gail's demonstrating exactly how you prepare yourself to go out there and compete and prove your competence to people who either had incompetence or don't believe that your job is one of competent people. You know what I mean? And so this is great stuff, Gail. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that real quick.
No problem. And here's one of my main selling points when I'm at the listing appointment. I go, I kind of have a secret weapon. And they're like, what's that? I said, number one, when I said, in this market, we're not getting multiple offers, like we used to. I'll still get you a multiple offer if we price a rate and we have the right strategy and we agree that this is going to be a great fit. I said, but Mr. Seller, I use a program called Disclosures.io. And honestly, this is honestly great for agent attraction too. And I'll explain that later. But so before we take any kind of listing on our team, every inspection is done, and Gabe will attest to that. We have everything from their tax bill, their NHD report. We have the CC&Rs. We have the prelim. We have the home inspection report. We do the roof inspection. We do a pest inspection. We have the property feature sheet. We have the HOA docs. We don't mess around. We get all this stuff up front. So if the seller says to you, well, doesn't the buyer do inspections? I go, here, Mr. Seller, here's the situation. The buyer is going to do an inspection, and they may still do this if you do it. I said, but it's kind of like getting a car with no Carfax. Would you feel really confident paying full price for something that you knew that didn't have a major rehaul? I said, we take these inspections and we turn them into a marketing piece, and that's how we market. So you will never ever see somebody ask me for a price reduction after we get into escrow because they found out something. And at the end of the day, if you use the same pest inspection to do your termite work or anything like your WDO work, they're going to guarantee it. So I get them to do all of that stuff up front. And now when agents come in, I go, here's the important part, Mr. Seller. So since we're not going to be getting a ton of people, multiple offers, we're going to get phone calls from agents. Hey, Gail, nice property on Swingle. Quick question. You have any offers on it? I could say, hey, Marianne, we don't have any offers right now, but I did send out 17 disclosure packages. I said, so based on that, there's interest. I have nothing in hand, and by the way, let's chat before I never let them submit an offer unless they talk to me first. So, and I school them, and I'm always shocked that these realtors are desperate. So many realtors are desperate to make their car payment, to make their house payment. They will tell you everything. Okay, well, I know they can go up 25,000 more, or here's what's important. So one of the nice things about this is the viewers. Okay. I know how many people are looking at this. I've saved so many, well, I won't say so many, I've saved quite a few deals from people going in here and I'm like, oh, that person's looking at it. Why haven't they made an offer? Then I call, hey, Haley, quick question. Did your buyer find a home yet? I know that you looked at the disclosure package, then just start the conversation. So what I tell my seller is, here's the beauty of this. You don't want to fix the roof. I get that. But if I see that somebody's been looking at your roof 4 times, because I can see exactly what they're looking at. What are they looking at on this? How many times have they downloaded? So then I'll call that agent. Hey, Haley, by the way, just wanted to let you know, the roofer was super busy. He was on, then he had vacation, but we are taking care of the roof. We'll have a 2-year roof cert. Just wanted to let you know I'll be uploading it soon. And that saved a big deal for me. Oh my gosh, the last house my buyers had, they don't want to deal with a roof issue. So I get to spy on anybody who's looking at my, and this Disclosures.io is like the best portal.
Can I just stop you, Gail, and just point out how brilliant that is? Guys, are you paying attention to that? Like when you're talking about going out and selling a home, right? That's an agent who goes out there and sells a home, right? When you're talking about agents who stick a sign in the front yard, list it online and pray that buyers come by, this is the separation factor right here. Like she's sending out disclosures so that she can see what people are clicking on, so that she knows the problem, so that she can reach out to potential buyers and actually go out there and sell the home, right? Not take orders, you know? And even if you guys are thinking, man, I couldn't do this right now, trust me when I tell you, when the market gets a little bit harder, right? When you're not receiving multiple offers on every property that you put on the market, you're going to need to do shit like this to thrive in a market that's not as great as it once was. And don't have that short-term memory where you're like, well, I can just do this all the time. Like you got to get that edge. You got to learn how to go out there and compete. And she is the definition right here. Just this one thing, the definition of I get shit done. You know what I mean? And that's ultimately what every agent is looking for, somebody who's actually going to get shit done. And it's little things like this that are a big deal that will separate you from everybody else. Raise your hands really quickly if you guys do this already, or if your mind was just blown. Well, I gave you both
So then,
options.
other
Yeah.
than Gail's team raising their hand.
That's smart, Gail. I love that. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to point that out. Separation. Go ahead.
No problem. And the other thing I love about it is when we did have multiple offers, you just click on there and you can see it kind of breaks everything out for you. So it really helps me just in the negotiation part of it. And believe me, this is no coincidence. I got 3 at 1.5. I got them all up. It was listed at 1.350. At the end of the day, if you are not coaching the agent on the other end on how the offer needs to come in, and there's a fine line between scaring the buyer and educating the buyer's agent. Okay, so that's a conversation I always have. I said, before you write the offer, let's get on a phone call. I just want to make sure I'm not wasting your time and you're not wasting mine. That's exactly what I say. So they go, okay, great. And so many times I go, oh my gosh, they did exactly what I told them. And because they don't know, they want to get, even when the market was good, they would do that. So, I mean, I wish that, there's nothing worse than getting an offer from somebody that you haven't even talked to. They just sling an offer at you and it's $50,000 under asking. Like, are you out of your freaking mind? Why would you even think I'm going to respond to this? But guess what? I respond to everything now and I'm able to get shit done. So I do sign the listing most of the time. I get everything signed at the listing agreement. And so here's something I wanted to share with you that is really important in this market. These are the new addendums we're putting in. So we always have an addendum A. What is addendum A? It is telling the listing is telling the seller they agree to pay for the cost of staging up to, if they say, well, are you going to pay for staging? Sometimes I'll say, if it's a $1 million plus home, I'll say, well, I'll reimburse you so much at the close of escrow. At the close of escrow. Okay, right now we don't really pay for a whole lot. I would say maybe 1 out of every 10 if it's something where there's another company that says they're going to stage it. But we also put in this very important part. This is really what we put in most of the time. Sellers are responsible for direct payment to staging vendor at the time the payment is due. You know, if the seller cancels the listing expires, reimbursement will be made to the seller from the listing agent or their brokerage. Will be made to the seller. What? The listing expires or the listing fails to close, no reimbursement. Gotcha. I was like, what the hell is that? Here's the other important thing. This goes with every one of our listings now. If the seller cancels the listing agreement, because we're seeing that, right? Prior to the expiration date, they agree to reimburse listing agent the incurred cost of listing preparation and marketing up to $2,000, not limited to photography, video, advertising, listing coordination, marketing. Payment is due within 7 days of sign cancellation. Here's how I sell that, and nobody gives us pushback. I'm like, Michelle, by the way, I can't even tell you how excited I am that, we're going to be working together. So this is an addendum that we have for the team, and I know you're not going to cancel. But this is just in case. You wouldn't want me to put all this work in, put my money out, and then you go, you know what? I hate my daughter-in-law. I don't want to move anymore, or whatever their situation, or you know what? I just don't like the politics in Florida. I'm not going to move. Well, in that case, if you change your mind, now keep in mind, Michelle, if something happens, like if your mom is sick or you're sick or something is life-changing, I have a heart. I'm not a tin man, but I'm not in the business for just marketing properties that I don't sell. So that's what this addendum is about. Please sign here. And they sign. Of course I want to sell it, but then all of a sudden, 4 months later, you can't get a price reduction. I'm just going to take it off. That's great. You owe me $2,000 and, we're getting reimbursed. We didn't have to do stuff like that before, but now it's very important that you do that. And it's all the delivery. How are you selling that? You don't go, you don't have to sign this if you don't want to, but this is an addendum. And, if for some reason I can't sell it's your conviction. Can I just tell you, when you guys are confident, confidence trumps. When you're confident at what you're going to do you think, I had to talk this photographer into following me on 3-foot wave breaks in the Bahamas to get this picture. Fell off the board. If you think I wasn't confident to get her on the board, I was Nicole Gabe. But it's all confidence when you're there. What do sellers want? They want to be led. They want to know you are a badass. They want to know you know what you're talking about, that you have the confidence you can sell that house. And they're looking for someone to lead them. Okay, so as far as inspections go, I personally don't attend inspections. I just did on a house in Florida because I'm not that busy over there, right? When I'm over there, I'm any reason to get out of my house away from my mother, I will go. But true story. This is our repairs checklist, and any home inspector will be happy to come back for $100 and check all the repairs have been done. Okay, so that's if you're working with a buyer. Okay, let me close that. I don't do that with the seller. Hold on, sorry, I'm trying to navigate my screen here. Oh, I know how to do it. I can't believe I haven't crashed my computer. I normally will do that by now. We are almost in the home run here, guys, and then we can have questions from you. So, trying to get back to.
There's an X on that screen.
I can't see it.
I know, it's over to the right. Same screen, just to the right.
Hold on, there it is. Boom.
Done.
Okay, so now here, I want you guys to pay attention. I have a jot form. These are the forms that are going to give you some freedom and time back. Everything from your listing action plan to your buyer action plan to your property information. I never sit with them and go, tell me what your average home bill for gas is or electricity or anything like that. They fill all this out. There's a mistake, it's on them. Even the move out form. Here's what the move out form really is. You know what the move out form is? It is my buyer adoption program. So because I'm in California, most of these sellers leave. They're out of California. Nobody wants to live in California with the crazy stuff that's happening, right? So they leave. So it used to be the reason I never really did non-owner occupy. I'm like, why would I do that? Because I'm always chasing new business. Well, guess what? Any listing is non-owner occupy because they're not coming back in California. So what are you going to do? You're going to adopt the buyer because that buyer's agent is never going to hardly follow up with them, right? Maybe they'll get a Christmas card. So in that buyer form, we have who's your gardener? How much is it? Who is your pool guy? All the information about the house. So that gives you a reason to follow up with the new buyers 2 weeks after they move in. And when and here's a very important thing, our escrow officer, she'll bury a body for us. So we tell our escrow officer, that is your best, our best friend. Who is the buyer? We build our database. We want the buyer's email and we want the buyer's full names. And if they have phone numbers. And that's what Laura works on. She works with the escrow officer to make sure that we get that. They get behind, but you have to ride them. So that's how you build a depleting database when sellers are leaving, right? Okay, and if the other agent goes, hey, why did you contact my client? Because you never know, right? We always want to know, hey, is that a relative? We don't want them to think we're poaching their client, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, we want to know, how's it working out? How many agents actually call the buyers after and say, how is everything good? Do you need it? Oh, you don't have the garage door code. So right here, this will be gold for you guys. Did you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I put the link in the chat. So
Okay, so you guys are going to have access to all of my shit right here. All of the links, everything, our introductory letter. You don't have to reinvent anything. All you have to do is review it, know what you're doing. You've got it all. This has taken me years to put this stuff together. And let's see, it's basically a plug and play. You got the listing. Cooley's teaching you how to get the listing. I'm teaching you what to do once you get it. And honestly, guys, I'm always here. If you have a question, if I can't get to it, Laura can get to it.
our phone numbers are down below.
Are you guys, I want to just chime in really quick. Are you guys realizing like the value, stacked on value, stacked on value, stacked on value that Gail is providing to everyone right now?
I just want to point out the
Yeah,
difference
absolutely.
really quickly, the difference of attending a real estate training where people are kind of bragging about how much production that they do and right, like giving you kind of a story about how they do it, but never really giving you anything. I can't count the amount of times so far, guys, that Gail has said, here's my shit, here's my shit, here's my shit, it's yours. Drop it in the chat group, drop it in the chat group. Like she's literally giving you guys everything, which is so amazing, Gail. And I just wanted to say thank you for that because that's awesome. And hopefully you guys are all downloading that and implementing that.
I just want to highlight, and I chimed in a couple of times along the way because there's, we think about, we generate appointments and then what's our pre-qual and pre-listing process, and then what's our listing process and what are we doing afterwards, right? Gail's basically 10x each part of those processes for you guys. And like she said, this took years to create, guys. This isn't something that was invented yesterday. It took years and a foundation coaching that we all have for her to take her experience, her results, and create those systems. And so this is why that separation, right? You have to have a system and process to everything. Okay. This is how you create that separation. This is how you set yourself apart. But this is how you bridge that gap of I got to go figure this out on my own, right? Or get in the right rooms, get in the right environments where you have people like this that are saying, let me show you how to get there faster. Right, Gail? That's exactly what you do with your team. It's all of your coaching clients. Let me show you how to get results faster. Let me show you how to set yourself so you can go out there and compete faster. So thank you, Gail. I hope everyone's catching this from, again, the pre-listing process, listing process, post-listing process. You've got it dialed in, Gail, and I love it. I know I've been on a couple of things with you. And
well, here's the thing. How did I get these? Because I freaking failed miserably. I fell on my face. I got spanked so many times. I'm like, oh shit, how did that happen? This cannot. And then all of a sudden, Laura and I are like, this cannot happen again. We've got to put a new process in, a new system in, all of that stuff. It doesn't come from like, oh, let's make some cute little forms. Let's, it's like, how can I be the most efficient with my time? And most of the people I deal with, they don't want me, like I used to go, oh, I'm there for 2 hours. We're bonding. No. I want to bond before I get there. I want them to, when I walk in the door, know she's here. She's got, this is the one. We're going to work with her and let's make this quick. So that's my whole goal is to just be efficient and productive. And here's the other thing. So out of all the listings I've sold over the last 3 years, here's my conversation there. Because I only show up at the listing appointment. I don't do anything else after. And here's why, because I'm really trying to actually, I really don't even want we do not want a big real estate team. We want, right now it's really great because we're culling people and we're just trying to be tight and productive, lean and mean, like when we first started. So, at the end of the day, if you're not surrounding yourself with the 5 people that you're going to become, you are a product of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So you guys are also lucky because you have Cooley, and we never ever had this kind of sharing ever in Sotheby's, in Remax, anything. I mean, nobody who said, here's my listing presentation, they'd be like, I'm going on a listing appointment. Can I see that? Maybe later. Who cares? There's always room at the top. So I can't even tell you when people go, Gail, how did you do this? Here's what the pictures in my mind. When I was working my ass off, and I sometimes, and really this was the crushing conversation. So I probably should have started with this. I went into my accountant's office, Truman. A lot of the people on my team use him. Phenomenal CPA. And I said, hey, here's where I'm at. I believe I was 55 years old. And he goes, well, you're kind of old, but you can do it. But you need to save $7,000 a month for you to have any kind of retirement. And I remember walking out of there and I sat in his parking lot and I cried. I really did. I was like, I can never do that. Well, I will tell you, 2 years later, I started saving $10,000 a month. I saved $10,000 a month before I did anything else, right? Until I had $1 million, right? I saved $10,000 every month. And Laura will tell you that went out of my account every single month. And here's the picture I had in my mind. I pictured myself on a sinking ship. Okay. And it's funny because this guy, John Dietz, said the same thing to me. He goes, picture yourself, you're in a sinking ship. And you can see the shore. You can see the shore. So it's, there's hope. There's something that you can grab onto and you can have life, right? And so I've just pictured myself swimming like towards that shore. No fucking distractions. I am so committed to doing what I need to do to make, so year 5, I made my 989,000. Year 6, I made $1,000,001. Year 7, I made $1,000,003. So I kept going. And what did I do differently? Nothing. Agents don't work. Most agents don't work more than 2 to 3 hours a day. They try to figure shit out. Be proactive. You guys have the framework. If you ever need help working on your schedule, seriously, I am happy to help you on your schedule. If you saw my schedule, I looked at it and I was a little overwhelmed. I had 31 appointments this week. And I was like, ooh, okay. Well, on Mondays, I have 9, usually back to back. I should wear Depends because I can barely pee, right? But I have a bathroom over there and I'm just like, but I go and it's energy creates energy. If you're one of those agents, this market sucks, or there is so much opportunity here. Okay. And I'm always trying, and do you think sometimes I'll start something and I'll go, this ain't going to work. Screw it. Let me, it's one of those things where I was stuffing envelopes the other night, right? Because I'm trying to get these high-end listings and I'm going to do a quick screen share and I'll show you what I did. I personally put 250 stamps in stuffed envelopes and stuffed cards because I'm trying to get into a luxury market right now in Florida. So it's just saying, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to, here, I'm going to show you my little art project that I did. So
if you guys think about how many of you guys would love to make $1 million a year, right? I want you to ask yourself, how many of you guys have actually done shit like this, right? How many of you guys think that you're above doing stuff like this, right? It's stuff like this that's going to yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. Why? Because the process of becoming a gangster weeds out the weak. You know what I mean? And you've all heard that saying, success is not for the weak and the uncommitted. Like, this is what commitment looks like. Commitment to your business, commitment to that dream that you have, whatever that is, financial freedom, all of you guys say, right? This is what it takes. Go ahead, Gail, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, the night before I left to come here, I was stuffing 200. My husband actually just texted me about an hour ago, I mailed your letters. And, and basically what I did was I bought an algorithm just for 2 months from, a company called Offers, of people most predictable sellers. And then I picked out 250 homes because I don't market wide. I don't go 1,000 people. I'll go 200, 250. And I found those 250 people that may sell, and all those homes over $1.5 million. Well, maybe over $1 million. There's some, but there's a lot of them are in the 3s and 4s. If I get one listing, and basically I wrote it with ChatGPT and then I humanized it, right? So I'm taking all the technology, and guess what, guys? Nobody has an excuse. I'm going to be 66 years old in 2 weeks. August 21st, I would like birthday presents, right? So, but no, I don't want presents. Yeah, I do. Okay, so, but I am,
Please wait till we verify your membership.
so if I can do
Welcome
it,
back, club member. You are now.
Got you.
what happened? So anyway, if I can do it, and I just recreated myself 4 months ago. Okay, so if I can do it, you guys can do it. Same thing with, agent attraction. Right now, I believe that this model is the best model on this planet. My accountant's the one that said to me, Gail, how long have you known about this? Because I did not want to come to EXP. I had no desire to come to EXP. My accountant said, so I sent it to my accountant. You look at it, tell Val why we shouldn't go. And he said, how long have you known about this? And I said, oh, about 3 years. He goes, I just did some math. I was afraid you're going to say that. That cost you $4 million, Gail. Because at your production, what you could have done in stock, what you could have done. He goes, guess what? It's not too late. And that's what I want to tell all of you guys. It's not too late, right? It's not too late to change your shit and change your habits. If you guys aren't on the Breakfast Club and you say, I listen to it, it's not my thing, I don't want to call expireds, that's fine. But you're missing out. I mean, you're depriving your family, you're depriving yourself of the life you can have. Why do I can retire. Why do I want to do this? I'm doing this for the legacy of my children. I want to pay off their mortgages. I want to be able to and I fly all my kids to my house and my grandkids. I got 6 grandkids. I'm doing this because I feel like God's really blessed me. He has blessed me. And when he does that, you need to shine your light to other people. So I want you to know you have so much right here. You have 3 lanes at EXP. If you're not at EXP, just listen up because you should be, but you have 3 lanes. You got 1 lane of production. You have the 2nd lane of stocks, and you have the 3rd lane of revenue share. Okay. And you're just doing the same thing. I bought 38 people, just 38 people went to Sotheby's. 27 people went to Remax because of me. I got a Chick-fil-A card. Now I get stock. It's undeniable. So because we all are benefiting, we're all sharing. I got my Florida listing presentation from Pete Middleton. He's not in my organization. It's not about who's in who's downline. It is not that at all. It's just like the culture that they have created here. And honestly, it's groups like Cooley and Wilson, I wish I could re-sign up, with Marguerite, my amazing sponsor who's on here, with you guys, but I don't have to think that anymore because you let me in. You let me in and you share with me. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, I could take a question. I really appreciate you all.
In defense of Sotheby's, Gail, Chick-fil-A is pretty damn good. It is delicious. All right, so let's, Gail, do you have like 5 minutes to take some questions really quick before we wrap it up? Guys, if you've got some questions, throw them in the chat group real quick, and then we'll call on you so that you can ask your question. So go ahead. Michelle, I'll let you be the moderator of that. Gail, you're so awesome, and I really appreciate you jumping on with us today. It's so awesome. I'm still hypnotized by, that process that you follow to go out and reach out to buyer's agents, because I've had so many agents, like when a house doesn't sell, and they've been spoiled over the past couple of years. So if a house doesn't sell in 30 days, they're panicking, you know what I mean? And they have no solution or no action items or nothing to work on to actually go out there and go, I got to get this fucking listing sold. So I've got to jump on, make some phone calls, and actually bring some buyers to the table. And that's such a genius way and a great demonstration on how you can take action rather than just feel helpless with something not selling. And that's a skill, guys, that you will need soon. That when the market shifts, you will need soon. When that, listing that normally sells in 30 days takes 60 to 90, right? You will need that skill. So understand that you got to prepare and make sure that you're systematized. Michelle, who's got the first question?
Let's see, we've got a few here. Simple one. What's someone, let's see. Sorry, now I've got a bunch of stuff about God's chicken and the breakfast club.
Well, here's a good one, Gail. Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
No, go ahead. It's
So nobody's going to care about this except for those of you guys who are within EXP. Gail, what's your best method for agent attraction? Because obviously that's in your business plan, right?
Okay, it's really changed in the last 2 weeks. And I'll tell you why. Usually my attraction is people call me because I'm such a protective agent, right? So, or I'll, in the transaction, I'll follow up with them and I really don't, I started to think about that because why wouldn't I share? When I left district church, because there's a church here that I used to go to almost every week, and the pastor said to me, I'm going to miss you when you go to Florida. He goes, I looked forward to seeing somebody new in the front row every time you come to church. I always would bring people because I believed in it so much. And I believe in EXP so much. So why aren't I sharing? I'm not trying to recruit. And everybody thinks, hey, this is a recruit. Get this in your mind. This is not a recruiting company. How would I be 300 if I don't even try to recruit out of 88,000 agents, right? That's less than 10%. So I started thinking about, and I asked Brent Gove, I said, why didn't you reach out to me 4 years ago? Because you know what? I didn't really know you. And so I thought, well, who do I know that I can bless? And that's how I look at it. And when I call people, I used to just be, I don't want to have a hidden agenda. I want to just be a friend. And here's what I say to them. I'll just, like, depending on my relationship, like I just talked to an $80 million producer, the #1 agent at a brokerage close by in our area. And, it was a 45-minute conversation. But at the end of the day, when I'm talking to somebody, I just say, I just kind of want to share with you what's happened. It's been 2 years. I've never really talked to you about EXP, but I think you respect me enough to know I wouldn't waste your time, and I don't have any time to waste. So I really would love to sit down with you and, do a deep dive and just kind of share with you. I mean, there's no other brokerage that's going to change your life. No brokerage.
Yeah.
So if they say, well, you know what, go ahead, Cooley, give me an objection. Like you don't want to go, like you're happy, whatever.
Well, I just love my managing broker, Gail. I mean, my managing broker is awesome. I've known him for years.
You know what? I can appreciate that. And Nick Sadek, I'm actually he's still my best friend. He's the owner of Sotheby's. I was actually the only agent invited to his daughter's wedding 6 months ago out of his 180 agents. So I loved him and he loved me so much. You know what he said to me when I left? He goes, Gail, at the end of the day, I want what's best for you and your family. If your broker doesn't want what's best for you and your family, they don't care about you. And who do you care about more, your family or your broker? I get that. But, Cooley, at the end of the day, I'm not asking you to leave Sotheby's. I am not asking that at all. I'm just saying this would be like financial malpractice for me not to share this with you. I'm just asking to be your plan B. I just want to share with you. And at the end of the day, we just get to know each other better.
Right. 100%. I love that. Because it's not a sales pitch, right? It's just, you have to see this because it changed my life and it will change yours too. You know what I mean? And so that's the conversation. Basically, you're not selling them on a platform. You're just like, you need to look at this. I love that. Gail, what are the 3 to 5 things that you do as soon as you take a listing active? The 3 and 5 most important things.
Laura, what are the 3 to 5 things that we do?
When you
Come
take
here.
a listing?
Yeah.
Well, looks like the #1 thing that Gail does is talks to Laura. Laura, what do we do now?
So come here for a second. Yeah. So basically, here's what happens. I am the buffalo hunter. That's what I do. I go out there and I slay the buffalo, they skin it. Right. So go ahead and tell them. So
I mean, it's just it's that concierge to your client. We
right.
communicate to them, get everything set up. I think that's one of the biggest things.
So the email goes out, right, and saying, with the timeline, and I always say to them at the appointment, I go, hey, at the end of the day, this timeline, it's flexible. Don't stress out if all of a sudden you can't make that, because we always change it. So we do that. The first thing I do is I get my army together. I get my declutterer. I get, everybody. So we get everybody scheduled. And then we, start working on marketing. We start working on how are we going to market this property, and we put it on our list so our agents know, hey, this is coming soon. What else do we do?
I mean, I think that's it.
I
It's
go
really
on
just
to, I go
compiling.
on to the next Cooley. That's what I do. I go get another one.
I
That's
love it.
what-
Pac-Man.
Right.
I love it.
I mean, you saw the
Michelle,
I know, guys, real quick, because I'm mindful of Gail, number one, of your time and everyone else's. So we'll wrap just in a couple minutes here. I just want to highlight this in case anyone missed it, right? I just got the question. You just got into a new market. I know the answer to this. How are you getting your listings?
Sure. So I just showed you that little video, right? Like, so I'm prospecting. I'm
That's the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're prospecting what?
I'm FSBOs and expireds that are in my price range in my neighborhood. I'm very picky. Even here, people will say, you don't take listings in Sacramento? No, I don't go anywhere where I have to be in my car more than 15 minutes. Why is that? I'm hyper focused because I'd rather have them see 10 signs in one neighborhood than one sign here, a sign over there, a sign across country, because then people think you're the person. You're the one. They think you're the busiest one. Same thing with postcards that you can market in the most expensive neighborhood. And if you only send 250, and that's what I do, it's 250 every 2 weeks, right? Every 2 weeks for like 3 months. That's what we're doing right now. And then we could taper off during a little bit during holidays, but you got intense and compete.
I love that. And so for those of you guys, and we've got tons of agents, Gail, who over the past couple of years in real estate, when you talk about prospecting FSBOs and expires, they're like, I don't prospect FSBOs and expireds. All my business just come, right? Those are going to be the ones who are suffering when the market shifts, right? When that phone is no longer ringing. And so you got to make sure that you've got the skill set to go out there and compete and generate business when you want to generate business. And boy, does that give you power, guys, the ability to create a deal where there once was not. And that skill set will serve you for the rest of your life. And gangster ass agents like Gail DeMarco here, who are making $1 million a year doing that, guys, it should at least inspire you to take a second look and go, well, maybe I should be prospecting FSBOs and expired. That makes a lot of sense because she's making $1 million a year doing the shit that I won't do. And I guarantee you, if you're the type that says, I'm not prospecting FSBOs and expireds, guarantee you dollars to donuts that you are not making $1 million a year, but you want to, right? And so what's the solution? To get the things that most agents to get the things that most agents don't get, you've got to be willing to do the things they're not willing to do, right? Hashtag Gail DeMarco.
To have the life they will never have. So at the end of the day, there's so many people that just want to go to class and they don't want to participate. If you're not going to do that, go get a job. Don't get a job. Don't waste Cooley's time. Don't waste, your time. I can't even tell you. I'm not trying to be rude. I am not trying to be rude at all. But I'm just saying it works. Okay. And every time, and my coach used to always say that every time you get a no, you get closer to a yes. So I used to have 50 pieces of paper, and we started that with Mela, and we would write 1 to 50 on it. And as we call, we'd take it and we had a garbage can and we throw it across the room. Right. So, okay, I only have 49 more to go, and it's just consistency. If you start doing it and you guys are in proximity of the people that are doing it, live prospecting, get on role play. And at the end of the day, the people that are just working their sphere, they're suffering. They're suffering because and they don't know how to have those conversations. They don't have the tool belt. They're like, oh, the interest rates, where will I go? They have no objection handlers because they're their sphere. And what are they with their sphere? They're nice. I'm not nice. I'm direct. Okay. And at the end of the day, it's like, what do people care? It's how much are you going to net them? That's all they care. And give them a solution. Give them solutions. Like I told, I bring in property managers. Give me a solution. Give me the cap rate. If they rented their house and they took that money and they took a HELOC out of that house and they got another house and they had $4,000 rent in this house, actually, their rate's only 4%. So look for solutions. And I'm telling you, it's like going to the gym. I hate doing burpees. I fucking hate doing burpees. Okay, I have bad wrists. But guess what? My old grandson was here. He's only 10 years old. He was here for a month at my house. That kid did 100 burpees a day because my son is a kettlebell instructor, a crazy nut. And he would make his kids, do pull-ups and burpees. And I had to videotape and send it to him. But guess what? they're going to be, strong, and they liked it after a while. So once you get, I actually freaking love talking to people about EXP. I like it because people are open. It's your presentation. When you get hung up and people tell you fuck off, people don't tell me to fuck off or ask me, because I will have, really a great response to them. If they say, how'd you get my number? I'm like, sir, I'm really sorry. If you're really that upset, I'm actually your neighbor. I live right around the block. I'm happy to walk over there. I got to walk my dog anyway. I can come over and call him. And they will never report you when you say that.
That's
Gail,
so funny.
I love this. I'm going to wrap us here, guys, for time.
Okay.
Gail, this was so incredibly valuable. I already know everyone will be begging for us to have you back on. Guys, Gail, I want to ask you this.
Final question. What is the Breakfast Club? The link is in the chat, guys. 7:30 Pacific Standard Time every single morning. You guys can come check in, mute your microphones, and listen to exactly how we get people awesome at those for sale by owners with the expired listings to put you in a position to compete. So save that link that we just put in the chat. Gail, how can people find you if they want to find you?
For referrals, to follow you, what's the best way?
Absolutely. I'll put it in the chat. You want to put in, it's Relentless Realtor on Instagram. I'd love if you guys followed me. Relentless Realtor. You can email me at Gail@Turner DeMarco, TURNER. Here, let me put it in the chat. Oh, you can.
I just put your Instagram handler in there. You guys can copy and paste it.
And my phone number is area code 916-220-5700. 16. Okay, I just put that in the chat. I just got to hit send. I can't talk and I guess I sent it to some girl named Barbara instead. Can you put it in there?
Yes.
Sure,
But
Barbara's grateful.
honestly, I am an open book for you guys. And I will tell you, when I went to my first build conference, I wrote down everybody's name and I reached out to every speaker and I just said, how can I get to learn more about what you do? And if you guys aren't going to the EXP events, oh my gosh, I mean, seriously, this is where you're going to, like I always say, proximity is everything. This is where you're going to see changes. It's not just, let's go have dinner and let's have a party. I learned so much. I learned so much sitting there listening to Michelle's story about Century 21 and how she just said, I'm done. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take for you guys on this call to say, I'm fucking done with the way my life is. I'm done of complaining. I'm done of not having what I deserve. And now, shit, I got the tools to do it. Let's do it. That's like, an incredible state. Something has got to happen. I was done when I had $1,500 in the bank. And I knew the only way to pay for that hay was take my clothes off. But when the guy showed up and looked like Duck Dynasty, I said, I'm done. I go, I'm done.
Gail, I freaking love you. Guys, the recording will be out. I dropped in here, myself and Gail, reach out to us. I'll get you guys the recording. I'm dropping how to find me and follow me. Send me a direct message. Myself, my assistant will get
Michelle, you're the least interesting person out of the two of us. So drop my link in there
We'll
too,
get you
because
guys-
I'm awesome.
We'll get you guys the recording, all the links. Gail, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I
Yeah.
love you. Laura,
wanna
thank you in the background.
No, honestly, Cooley, and Michelle, I know that you're behind the scenes, but Chad, I have so much respect for you and what you've done for my team. I mean, Isaac's on this, Gabe's on it. They're participating. We're getting so much out of it. It's people like you that make me do stuff like this. I absolutely adore you. And I just am so grateful for both of you. Thank you.
Oh, you're sweet, Gail. Thank you so much for that. Humble
Bye,
pie for me.
everyone. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Gail. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
You.